Super dope, y'all. I love that intro. Listen, we are back. This is season 6 of the Speak Black Man podcast. I am your host, Jason B. Allen, better known as Professor JBA. And we are back in the mix, y'all. It's been a lot that's happened in the time that we have been on break, but it is time that we get back to building, connecting, and growing. So, again, welcome to the Speak Black Man podcast. If you are viewing this on one of our streaming platforms or live, we appreciate you being tuned in. Now, with that being said, if you have not gone to educationalentities.com to subscribe to the Speak Black Man podcast, make sure that you do so. I'm going to go right into Jay's Corner on tonight. We have a lot of current events, upcoming events, and just a lot of things that have happened. So first and foremost, if you have made it into the new year and have not been thrown off or shocked on this roller coaster that we call life here in America, then it is definitely more to come. So happy new year to everyone. Welcome back. How are we thriving? How are we coming together in this time period is so important. So first thing in Jay's Corner, current events. We know that Linda McMahon has been confirmed as the new Secretary of Education for the Department of Education here in the United States. Huge concern around what does this do? How will this impact children with disabilities? How will this impact children who are dual exceptional, gifted and talented? What does this mean for children that are in federal programs across the country? It's a huge conversation that's happening with parents, with policymakers, and with everyday people. Don't be fooled because the media is not going to tell you that. However, here's what I can tell you for those who are uneasy about what's happening with the Department of Education. Make sure you get connected to the National Parents Union. We have a Let's Get Real about 504s and special education on Tuesday, March the 18th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's important that we have a conversation around what we can expect in current programs and what we can expect in the future, because we are not hopeless, but we are hopeful if we come together. So again, NPUs, that's the National Parents Union. Let's Get Real about 504s and special education on March 18th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go to nationalparentsunion.org to get connected. All right, that's under current events. I also want to say Happy Women's History Month. We are Black 365. Hence, if you haven't seen the background or what I have on right now, we are Black 365. So learn something every day, share that, and continue to not only celebrate, but educate, because that's what Black history is all about. I want to get into upcoming events. Upcoming events. Listen, let me tell you, these are upcoming, but these are also reoccurring events. I want everybody to mark your calendar for October the 4th at 6 p.m. It's a 10th anniversary celebration of Lily's Foundation. It's our Halloween Gala. Make sure that you get connected to those tickets that are on sale right now, $50. You can donate more if you would like to support our cause. But the Halloween is on October the 4th, 6 p.m. Go ahead and get your tickets. Donate right now. I also want you to save the date for our Grandsgiving Day. All right, like everybody has Giving Tuesday, right? In November, but in September for Grandparents' Day, we will have a Grandsgiving Day, which will be on September 30th. It's the last Tuesday in September. We need 100 people to donate $100 because we are going to be supporting grand families and caretakers, kinship families in a major way for our 10-year celebration. So as I conclude Jay's Corner, Those are your current events, and that's what I need you to get connected to for your upcoming events. And it's time to get right into our discussion. Tonight's topic for episode 5 is a new way forward. Our special guest is a dear friend, um, colleague, sister in the space, Keisha Spells. So I'm going to bring her on at this time. And I also want to say that um, one of the things that's new for our discussion piece is that we have a highlight for the evening. And tonight's highlight is Fathers Incorporated, their Real Dads Read program, which is perfect because Keisha is our special guest for Read Across America Day. And Keisha, I'm going to give you the floor to tell the people who you are, where you're from, and just a little bit. I know you can tell us a whole lot about all the amazing things that you're doing, but just your name, where you're from, and a little bit of the work that you're doing.
Hi everybody. Good evening. Ooh, the Monday has Mondayed us, hasn't it? But today is Read Across America Day, and we actually celebrate it well. I am Keisha Spells. I am a native of the America, so I've been a little bit of everywhere. I currently commute from Florida to Atlanta for work, and I feel like I'm an Atlanta native, but there's so many parts of me that belong to so many other parts of the country. And so, what I will say is that my heart is the work that I do. I am by Gift, the Family and Community Engagement Specialist at the Condesi School West or the Condesi School Network in Atlanta. We have 3 schools in the city of Atlanta. We serve approximately 1,200 geniuses, and they are our heartbeats. I also am the executive administrator for the Lilies Foundation for Change, and we do amazing work with grand families and caregivers rearing their grandchildren and other children in their families. And so, like Jay already mentioned, please, please, please mark your calendars and save the date for October 4th for our annual Halloween Gala. We are celebrating 10 years of serving the excellence in this work. And I could not be more proud and grateful for the work that we do in the city of Atlanta. Today, we really got the opportunity to celebrate reading and literacy. And so I'm excited about being able to bring men into the educational space to engage directly with kids and read to them, both our kindergartners and first graders and our older babies. We had some people read to our upper academy kids in middle school, and we also had older kids reading to younger kids and younger kids reading with older babies. So it just really felt good to celebrate the love for literacy on this day. Yep.
That was a part of the whole discussion right there. So now you have opened up the door for me to go in so many different directions. And I'll start here. Reading is fundamental, right? I am so honored that Lily's Foundation was able to support the school and Read Across America Day. Now, I'm all about literacy, y'all. Suit, swag, and success. Y'all see that? My very first book. And go and get it. Educationalentities.com. Now, I also want to ask you about this, Keisha. Boom. See how these colors come together? Suit, swag, and success. Bam. Black Male Educator Day at the Capitol. I want to switch up our conversation and ask you about the Georgia Parent Week of Action, the recent annual Black Male Educator Day at the Capitol. We've had a previous teacher, and I want to say, like school leader from Kendesi, which
Yes.
is one of our partner schools, celebrated at the Capitol before. But just share your thoughts. Let's start there. Share your thoughts about the Georgia Parent Week of Action and the Black Male Educator Day at the Capitol. Let's talk it
Phenomenal.
up.
I mean, literally phenomenal. Think about it. Who is repping Georgia but us? And us being able to get together across the state from Savannah to Columbus and Atlanta, just in major places and in some rural spots, getting together to talk education, right? To talk about the state of it, but also like the amazing things that we're doing across our state to support children. I
That's right.
think sometimes you just don't get the opportunity to collaborate, and we saw good collaboration happening, healthy collaboration from business partners to people who are in the work in schools, who are also external to the work in schools, and they're working aftercare programs or they're doing before care. There was just a plethora of people who are committed to being boots on the ground, making sure that change is happening, that everyone feels supported in the change. I think, man, I have a special place in my heart for Black male educators. So
Most
that
definitely.
is definitely near and dear to me. As someone who serves brown and black children every day, it's always good to see our men show up for them and be in spaces with them, and many for whom unfortunately don't get the opportunity to always engage with men on an everyday basis outside
That's
of the
true.
school building. So it definitely holds a special place. Thank you all for moving that work forward and making sure that there is space to honor those
Yeah.
educators, so that we can get more people to commit and we can
Yeah, I
get
love
those
that.
who are already there to stay committed.
I definitely feel you on that. Thank you for those words, and major shout out to Tanya Winters, our NPU
Yeah.
Georgia State Director, who is a co-host of the BM E Day at the Capitol, and also my good brother Centel Brown, who is um, one of the originals to help us start this day with the students. Javon was one of the honorees, so major shout out to everyone who was connected and engaged with that. And it's befitting because today's highlight, again, every show has a highlight, and Fathers Incorporated had two honorees at the Capitol. They're also our highlight for this evening for their Real Dads Reads initiative. And I know that Condesi not only has a lot of men who are engaged at the school, but a lot of dads and men who come out and get engaged. And so I want to go to dads and learners with literacy, right? There's a lot of conversations, and again, for anyone who's watching, Tanya is at the National Parents Union. You can connect with her and make sure you join that movement of getting parents and families engaged with the everyday work happening in the school that Keisha is leading, and also in the community with policies and power that Tanya is leading. And these two together are phenomenal. Now, I'm also making the connection that these two have done a lot of work in the male and fatherhood engagement space around literacy. And so, Keisha, I wanted you to maybe, again, just kind of highlight the impact of men and these literacy initiatives on the students and their actual growth and development at your school.
I want to frame for you what the experience is like. So you are a second grader and your direct you arrive to school and there's a man who opens the door for you to greet you first thing on this day. And then down the hall, there are men who are saying, "Have a great day. You got it, champ. It's going to be awesome." And then arrive in your classroom, and there's this guy who arrives with a book, and everybody's greeting him in the circle. And then that person is getting ready to read to you, and bring to life a book, one you may have heard before or you may not have ever experienced, but now you're getting the opportunity to engage with this person and ask them questions, and they're engaging with you and doing call and responses to get to a space of understanding, and they even get to know your name. So like that experience, that means something to our kids from the doorstep, from bell to bell, to the time that they leave. And then the experience of walking back out with that person to take them to the door to tell them bye, and to know and trust that that person may come in a couple of months or in a couple of days and see you again. Like it really
Yeah.
matters to them. The experience is something that's very telling and touching about our community and schools and how we represent community and schools with our families, our fathers. It could be community members, coaches, mentors. It could be
Hmm.
other educators in the field that come in, but just having a field of men swarm you for literacy day just to read to you. So,
That's
big
right.
up to the men who decided to do that, to give up their time. And I just, I'm just honored to work alongside amazing people that still want to build out that work.
That's phenomenal. And I was just reading Tanya's comment that was highlighted at the bottom of the screen. And thank you, team, for doing that. I just really think it speaks to, again, the next area of, focus, which is parent and family engagement. The media will have us to think that we are living in a constant state of emergency. And in you know, some aspects we are politically, but we also, and I want to be very intentional about saying this, maintaining our peace within our homes, within our mind, within our environments. We have control over that. You may not have control over your supervisor or your boss or your director or your principal or your leadership who you're employed with, whether you're the entrepreneur leading the work or you're working. What you can do is control your response, and you can control your energy and your atmosphere. And I'm sharing that because where we do have a state of emergency is with our parents and our families. Eggs are still expensive. We are still in a recession. People are losing their jobs and being impacted by the attacks on DEI. And so I want to give you a few moments to speak around the urgency, and I'm hoping that people are hearing the urgency in my voice around parent and family engagement and why we need to ensure that parents and families are even more connected to what's happening in schools with policies, with school boards more than ever.
I can't say it enough. We cannot do the work that we do without parents and caregivers. We cannot do this work without you. And so times are changing. It's more, they are the voice of power. They are not on, they are at the top of the food chain and they are at the bottom. And oftentimes parents believe that they are only at the bottom. Like my voice will never go anywhere because all I do is just send my kids to school. And it's not like that. Everyone has to answer to parents. They are the end and the beginning of the educational food line because you bring your children to us and we're the experts in teaching them academically so that the children can grow. But the policies go nowhere if you don't vote the people and elected officials in office that are creating policies that go nowhere. So you are the voice. If you are holding people accountable by being present, then that makes a difference. I
That's
think
good.
parents often feel like, oh, the school board is not going to listen to me anyway. Yes, they will. You force them to listen when you one band, one sound. We
That's
all see
right.
what's happening to our schools. We know many of them are in situations that have not been well post COVID. When we talk well, we're talking data, we're talking academic data, we're talking financial um, data. We see what's happening with kids moving and being transient. There's a lot happening around the country with our children and the state of education. We have to be vigilant in making sure that our families know they have the most powerful voice. And
Yeah.
so if they know that and they're equipped with information, they can take us places and
I'm gonna
things can
challenge you
change.
guys on this. Parents, families, caregivers, community members, taxpayers, everybody, right? Everybody's voice should be valued, especially when we're living in a time where there are leaders who are trying to tell us that certain voices should not be valued and should not be heard. Everyone's voice should be heard and valued, Now, let me also challenge us and say, as a 20-year veteran in the game, this is my 20th year in education. And I will be remiss to say that we have to make sure we are elevating student voices because it's actually happening to them. This is happening in high schools that teachers are afraid to teach African American literature. They're afraid to teach Black history. They're now afraid to move further into the school year in March and be able to teach and feature women's history. So I want to take us to the state of Georgia, where again last week we were just advocating, educating parents about what's happening with Senate Bill 120, which is basically Georgia's anti DEI bill. And I want us to be very clear about this, that if this passes and is voted on the floor and is moved into action, this is going to impact public HBCUs. Think about Fort Valley, think about Albany State, think about all Savannah State, think about all of the public HBCUs in Georgia that could be impacted by this. Think about teacher residency programs. Parents heard from partners like Profound Gentlemen, BMES Talks, other teacher organizations that are like, we need diversity. We need equity and inclusion, not just in the teacher pipeline, but in the board of regents. In the university system where teachers are being trained. We're also looking at programs that support educators, especially Black male educators that are not supported, hence in regular programs, because if they were, there wouldn't be a need for the initiatives and programs that we are now seeing being impacted. And so that was a public service announcement. But Keisha, I also want to just, as someone who works with parents and families, what should be the concern of parents, especially around AP courses for African American literature and history?
I think the biggest thing is they're not offering. The offerings aren't there. I think that parents, they're getting ready to potentially you lose the access to those offerings if this bill goes anywhere and their voices aren't heard. You won't have access to, those courseworks at your local high schools. But when we look at even just, AP coursework, period, the offerings are very slim at our public high schools in the city. They don't have a lot to give and offer to us. And it's very unfortunate. It's almost saying for the many children for whom need accelerated learning opportunities, we will only give you few because we want to make sure that you have a smaller pipeline to go through. There's not enough room for everyone, but really and truly, there is enough room. And it's going to take parents amplifying their voices to say, hey, our children deserve to have the same equal opportunity and coursework availability at the high school that's 5 minutes from my home versus fighting to get my child into a school that's 30 minutes away, or having to pay for my child to go to a private school option that has all of the things that they need. I just think we aren't asking
Wow.
the right questions. So start asking the right questions and be fired up about your child's educational journey.
Asking the right questions is good. And last few moments, I want to close us out on Lily's Foundation. Again, go check out liliesfoundation.org. Um, Join us for the 10-year anniversary of this organization that both Keisha and I are connected to and serve on the board for. Keisha is our new executive administrator, helping us move into the next 10 years. And what will our programming look like? What would our support be? One of the things that we want people to help invest in is our Grand's Read Reads initiative, and this is perfect for Women's History Month because my great grandma Lily Hurst, who is my mother's grandmother, who raised her with Poppy, um, during this month for Read Across America Day would be reading to children. That's where the program came from and initiated from, right? Um, Keisha, you are in a school and we're seeing the need for small group support. We're seeing the love for um, kids having special guest readers come in, even if
Mhm.
it's twice out of the month, which really speaks to the Grants Reads initiative that Lily's Foundation does. I'm petitioning this and just jump in at any time. I want us to raise money to pay grandparents to be able to, not a whole lot of money. We know they need supplemental income. Uh, but let me tell you, a good $25 a day for an hour or so for these, a good number of seniors and grandparents, caretakers to go into the schools and elementary school especially. And I also want to say this with Lily's Foundation, not just the elementary schools, but Keisha, I think you made such a good point earlier today around the daycares who need
Mhm.
support because ain't
Yeah.
nobody coming to support them. So last few minutes, let's talk about Lily's Foundation and the Grants Reads initiative. And as we're talking, if you feel led to go and donate and support this work, liliesfoundation.org, go and check it out. But Keisha, yes, what are your thoughts? Let's talk
I
about Lily's.
definitely think that first of all, Lily's is doing such amazing work and has been for 10 years. There are not many programs in our state that support grand families. And so our grandparents need a lot of support, but they're willing to roll their sleeves up and help our schools. I definitely love the idea of placing them in a position where they're able to get some financial support, even if it's even whatever it is they would be grateful for, because they would do it for free. But
Yep,
when we look at what our schools need right now, they need that touch point. They need those retired educators, those people who are like, I can do bingo later, and I would love to be in a position to take some of my time and give it to somewhere, but I don't know where to give it. And
that's
so if
right.
we can connect them in our schools, that would be excellent for just the thing that they need most, the connectivity. Partnering them up with a classroom, and that becomes their adopted class for the school year, and let's get them in there and they can support in any way possible. That
That's
one
right.
hour is game changing for schools that are seeing suffering around, teacher decline and such. So definitely, let's do it.
I love it. And let me tell you guys, not just because it's Lily's Foundation, but do you see this website? This is absolutely amazing. It speaks to our programs that we offer to grandparents. I also want to highlight grandparents and caretakers. Grandparent interest survey. If you know a grandparent, a caretaker who is in the state of Georgia, I know we are based in serving Metro Atlanta right now, but if you know of grand families or kinship families in the state of Georgia, I'm thinking about our good friend Tamika Daniels in Albany, some of our amazing partners and friends in Savannah that we just left from with Tanya in MPU, Georgia, serving parents and families there. I'm thinking about Macon. I'm thinking about Griffin Spalding. If you know grandparents and caretakers who are raising school age children, send them to liliesfoundation.org right now. They can fill out this grandparent interest survey so we can connect with them. I also want to say this, boom. Halloween tickets, you already see. Now, it took me to another place, but Halloween tickets, boom. You go there to take you right to um, the tickets for the Halloween. But that's Lily's Foundation. Help our senior citizens, help our grandparents and our caretakers raising school age children. Keisha, I have for final
Yes.
thoughts, I have something for you.
Okay.
And this could be one word, it could be a phrase, it could be um, a reflection. But the topic title for this episode is um, a new way forward. And so the closing question for final thoughts is how are you building A new way forward. How are you building a new way forward? That's our final thoughts question. For those who are viewing, I want you to think about that question, write it down, put it in your phone, talk about it at dinner. We're in a new year under a new administration. Um, Beyonce kind of said a new foundation and renaissance, and that's what we are, right? How are you building a new way forward? Final thoughts.
For me, it is taking it in stride, the work in stride, but honestly, being revolutionary, whatever that means. And I will say, I said it today earlier, that sometimes you just have to roll with the punches, but sometimes you don't. Sometimes you can stand firm and say, no, we're not rolling with any punches. We're just doing the work and we're staying committed to getting it done. For these babies, we will. Just
Yes,
that's just what
you
it
are
is.
absolutely right. We definitely will. And Keisha, I'm glad that you were on episode 5 to uh, bring season 6 back to life, get us back active. I will say that I am forging a new way forward by focusing on storytelling. This year, Suit Swag and Success, our 5th year celebration for the Black Male Educator Day at the Capitol, Suit Swag and Success Part 2 um, will be coming soon. I'm also working on a workbook that will be a free tool on my website for educators, for those in community, for parents, families to be able to use with our boys and young men to really help fill in um, the gap. And so that's what's next. That's what's upcoming. The season is in full effect up until um, right before school is out in May. And so I'm excited about season 6 closing out this season. Keisha, again, thank you for um, being our special guest on today. And everyone, I will have to say this as we close out episode 5. Make sure you go to educationalentities.com to get connected to our podcast, get connected to the book, get connected to what's next for the BME Appreciation Day, how we're going to be engaging some of our honorees, how we're also going to be really focused on literacy, focused on supporting grand families and kinship families, and helping to continue telling the stories of Black men, Black fathers, Black educators, Black community leaders, Black student leaders, uh, Black activists that are helping to move us forward. So I'm your host, Professor JBA, for the Speak Black Man podcast. This has been episode 5. We are back. Go and check out some of the earlier episodes of this season and definitely make sure you stay connected to what is next. This episode was phenomenal, and my last closing call to action would be Lily's Foundation. Make sure you go and get your gala tickets, donate to support our work today. Peace and love, everybody. Thank you so much for viewing the episode for this evening. We'll catch you on next Monday, 7:15 p.m.